Welcome back to the Coded Switch. This episode is one where we talk about the conundrums of being a working mother. Join Dr. G and myself, Toltu Tufa. I'm Toltu the psychologist from Australia, America, and really everywhere in between. Wherever you're joining in from, we are so happy that you're here. So stay tuned and hear us talk a little bit about what's taking up the headspace for all of us.
Welcome to the Coded Switch podcast, a deep discussion about the experience of intersectionality and vulnerability as it relates to wellness. Hosted by Dr. Galanega Machisa and Toltu the psychologist.
All right, so we're back into it now. I remember now I think it was the first or second episode we spoke about the experience of being a mother and what it was like, giving birth and like, oh my God. I think both of us had like pretty traumatic experiences. Yeah, but you know what I realized, like I thought, now I don't know about you, I thought that once I became a mum and kind of figured how to do the nappies and the sleep and all that stuff, it would all get easier.
Nappies, by the way, are diapers.
Right.
For the listeners in America, not napkins.
Oh my God, is that what you call it? Oh my goodness. Okay, nappy for us for that. Yeah, 100%. But there's this idea that, but I was at home. I was a stay-at-home mum for a bit. I never really thought about the idea of going back to work. I never thought of the idea of childcare. Do I put my kid in childcare or not? And like even now, sometimes I still grapple with the idea of, oh my God, when I just leave my kids here, there, and everywhere. I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's a space that's not often spoken about. Like, I don't know where your views are in terms of the spectrum. Is it a spectrum or is it a Venn diagram of circles that move in and out with each other? I don't know. But the idea of I'm meant to do this all by myself versus doesn't a community raise a child? Doesn't it take a village to raise a child? I don't know. And then how does that
No, don't question yourself because absolutely. The answer is resoundingly yes. That's how it naturally has always been through the eons of time until modern living, modern lifestyle, right?
Where so impressed by this. I'm being very sarcastic here.
Oftentimes I'm like banging my head against a wall about how much we are complicating, trying to understand and confused over things. I mean, it's so simple. It's just what makes it so difficult is that the pace of modern life, the construct of modern life, modern lifestyle, I should say, especially in the West, leaves no space for for any semblance of what like natural family life looked like and has always looked like throughout time, and what was the most meaningful and healthy for everyone involved, for parents, for children, which is to have extended, live in extended family settings and have multiple caregivers. And as we've complicated life with all of our labor saving devices and technology and the expectation of being able, because we have those time saving devices, the expectation is that we will then use that time to be more productive, not to spend on caring for one another and rearing healthy families. And
isn't that a scary thought?
Yeah, it really is. But that's the truth of it. And that's why we're all banging our head against the wall. Like, is it supposed to feel this hard? Is it supposed to feel like, a juggling act? And there's also, I mean, and I know this is kind of controversial, but there's also something to be said. Well, yeah, there's also something to be said about, what has happened with women and our women's movement and having more autonomy to practice things outside of the home, right? To express ourselves fully as it relates to our abilities and our desires and talents, all those sorts of things. And to have space for that, to express that in the public arena, which of course means that is outside of the home, right? And I'm not knocking that because I am a woman who is obviously, taken great advantage of building something for myself that is just for me, that has to do with my identity as Galanega Machisa, like it's not related to my role as a mother. It's not everything it's built up to be. Right? Because the thing about it is like when you're a child and when you're a girl, especially the era that I grew up, it's like women can do it all and we're the this and that. And it's like yep, okay, great. Yeah, I can do this thing. I can let me have as many initials behind my name as I want, and I'm gonna, but then it's like, wait a minute, I want to be a mom, and I want to be a present mother,
Yeah.
right? Like, I actually want to be involved in, I don't want somebody else to take care of my kid. But I did all this work, and now I have this, career, right? Like, I have this that I got to do something with. It's very, just as, if not more important to me to play out my role as a mother. That's something that is not, maybe it is changing now for girls who are that having that narrative told to them is like, yep, you could do it all, but also don't forget, you might want to do this thing too at some point in your life that's going to be very important for you and fulfilling in ways that your career cannot be. They can't be fulfilling in the same ways, right? They can be fulfilling in their own lanes, but not in the same ways.
Yeah, how interesting. Because like, there was this movement to sort of, bring up women's rights, telling us we can do anything, but instead now we're told we have to do everything. So I guess part of it has got me thinking, like, yes, like women can do anything, women can do everything, but now we're just expected to do it all and not have that nuance, and that choice has been taken away. And so that just leaves me thinking, this whole idea of us work, 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 to use Rihanna's song theme for this. That's what this episode should be called. Work, work,
It
work,
should
work,
be.
work. Have we been sold a lie?
Outside of the home and inside of the home is work.
Yeah. Have we been sold a lie? And I'm like, when men work for 20 years and they get what they want in terms of like the work pinnacle, and then they can turn around and still have families, and women are expected to do the same. And I don't think it matters so much whether you have a partner or not, or whether you're married. Like when you have children, it's like, well, what part do you commit to your career? And I think there's something to be said about, finding something you genuinely love that can be part of your lifestyle. And I understand social media has, really given rise to these, women following their passion and sort of still being at home with their children. And also the other way, like women who just really want to run their career and be like, this is what I'm all about.
Right.
But I think, I'm wondering really where that choice has gone, and whether
that's right. Neither is wrong, in my opinion, right? Like I think it's actually very mature and wise for, there are some women who just know, like, motherhood, not for me, right? Not for me. I get my joy and satisfaction from other things, and that is wisdom. What is difficult is, when we are sort of told, like, be all you can be, and do it this way, and go as far as you can, and how you can contribute to society, contribute to society outside of the home, because of course raising children is a major contribution to society.
When I looked at that, we spoke about it in the other episode, like 2 episodes ago, I think, where like there were kids running around and a dog was let off the leash, and everyone was telling off the kids and the man, and no one was saying anything to the dog. And I'm like, do we really value children? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was left confused.
Well, I don't know how things. I can speak to the United States, and it's abysmal here. It's really abysmal, and I think it feeds into. It makes you wonder. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it does make you wonder as far as like, man, this whole like women's movement thing. All it really did is separate moms from their kids like way earlier than what is, I think, is healthy. I'm not a psychologist or a child psychiatrist or a psychologist at that, but. Yeah. It's creating a lot of anxiety in children, and mothers are stressed out, households are stressed out, and it's like, for what? Everybody's on, running this race at sprint speed, right? And seemingly being able to, it's really just getting by. I don't know that you can really look at it as it depends what metric you're using to say as is it successful or is it not? Like if it's, everybody's bellies are full and everyone's distracted and not like, then everything's fine. But if we're talking about like, are we raising whole well people, right, is there's a lot left wanting.
The attachment, like the secure attachment, right? Like every child needs like a primary caregiver, whoever it is, whether it's grandma, dad, or mum. In most cases, like it's usually mum. But again, when there's the idea of, well, a child can't attach to the parent because the parent is not there for 18 hours of the day. And so they're in childcare being given from, person to person. And look, there are some women's realities who are precisely that. And there is no
exactly. There's no other choice, right?
Me, I'd be happy to stay home, and just
absolutely, yeah.
I don't know, actually. I think I'm like, I want to stay at home with my kids. And then after about 3 months, I reckon I'll get bored and I'll be like, no, I need to get back out into work again.
There's that too. Let's be real. There's that part of it too, honestly, where it's just like, and it's difficult because, of course, when you are conditioned to really flex that muscle of using, parts of your brain that really you can only express in a creative way out in an industry or in a career or like problem solving in some way. When you're conditioned to you want to flex that muscle and you feel when it's atrophied, you want to and I want to do this again. Right. And so that's where I think the whole, yes, I do want to be available and around for my children, but I also, you have to have meaning and purpose for yourself too. Exactly. And I think it's not fair to expect women and mothers to derive all of their meaning and purpose from their role as a mother. I don't think that's fair.
I do find it problematic putting your child as the central focus of your life, which, there are a lot of women who do. And of course, when your child needs you up to a certain age, developmentally, they should be the focus of your life in the sense that, the child needs to be raised. But there are, women whose children are in their 20s and they're still, doing their laundry for them and looking after them as though they're still 6, basically. I think there's something to be said about that. And really just thinking about the idea of, look, for me, it's probably a bit more spiritual too. I'm like, if you put human beings at the center of your existence, they move, they change.
They change. Exactly. Their level of need changes.
Stable. You want something more stable at your center, at your core, at your focus. Yeah. And I can tell you that is definitely not your children. They'll send you around the twist. They'll make you crazy after a while. So, look, something to think about. I think it's we've just started the conversation here, and I don't think we
very important one though.
A very important one. Finish it here, but I think we should definitely open it up. I'm keen to hear from people who are following us too, who might have, their own experience. I want to know, are you a mother who's working? Are you a stay-at-home mom? What are your views on the divide, or is it the balance? I want to hear from you. That's what I want.
Me too. Yes, please let us know, because we're sort of straddling both sides of the same line here, and I resonate with a lot of what you said about feeling you would be very happy for, uninterrupted time to spend with kids, but then also having time to devote to yourself and your interests. And, but it's not easy. It's not easy to be, I say this almost in every single patient appointment. It's not easy to be a modern human being. It's not. And I think we have to give ourselves grace, a lot of grace, and just understanding what we're up against. Because, of course, we don't realize it because we don't have the ability to talk to somebody from another cohort in time, right? And to understand how, we know historically what things were like, but as far as, the actual experience of it, we don't have that luxury. All we have is who's around now, who's experiencing the same thing. And it seems there's a normalization that happens, but it's just knowing what we're up against. It's important to start from a place of grace and just know that it's not easy. It's really tough to be a modern human being.
Oh, yeah. There was no smartphones. We weren't expected to be as productive, even 10 years ago.
Let alone, right? Always on. Yeah.
Even as 10 years ago, let alone 20, 50, or even 100 years ago. So, as a civilization, we're just, I think, evolving quite rapidly in terms of, our expectations of, people had this idea that if you just had everything, you could do everything. And I think, again, maybe not in the conversation of being a mum, but definitely that as a world, we're now trying to do more, consume more, process more, and it'll be interesting to see at what point where someone's going to put on the brakes and be like, hold up, we can't.
That's right.
As a civilization.
That's right. This isn't the route to joy and happiness. And
but we're not here to leave everyone with the doom and gloom. We do.
No,
So I want to hear from everyone. Where's everyone at? And yeah, let us know if you're interested in any topics as well. If there's anything in particular you'd like for us to talk about. Some of you have been sending individual feedback to us. Send it to us at The Coded Switch. We love to hear from you. We're available on all the major platforms as well as our Instagram. And of course, in my heart, but that just sounds really like over the top. Look, thank you so much for everyone joining in. We'll see you next on our episode where, well, you'll have to join us and find out.
We're That's right. Shortly, That's right.
But we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye.